to the pile. No. Well, we want to force people to talk against third wave. No, everyone perfectly happy so far. One topic has come up in different ways that I think we've got to look at once before we pass on to another cultural frontier. We've got now the movement from a situation where people join the church, enter the Christian community, make an act of choice that very often we call conversion, that disappears once you have the communal declaration of the Christian community. You get a new situation of a Christianity where the community itself is Christian. Its symbols are Christian. Its standards are Christian. Its laws are meant to be Christian, or at least conform to the law of Christ. Any law that appeared not to be, well, that's what the law codes are doing. They're being altered. You're getting rid of, and you get rid of them. But everyone is aware that this community is marked by not just failure, but by utter wickedness. Furthermore, some of this wickedness is structural, so that you can't really get out of it. The system, for instance, whereby people are attached to their superior and may be called on therefore to fight for their superior. What happens if the cause of your superior is an unjust one? You still have no option but to fight. The man I've mentioned several times, because he's standing in the middle of this, Anselm, Archbishop of Canterbury about 1100. Now, this is interesting. He's Archbishop of Canterbury. He is the chief clergyman, as it were, in England. But he's not English. He comes from Italy. You can move your clergy round. There's no reason why an Italian shouldn't operate as the chief bishop in England. He is, I've mentioned him this morning, as the first notable theologian of the Atonement. He's also a very saintly man. He was asked on one occasion, will many people be saved? And his answer was no, and most of those who are will be monks. Now that's a very revealing statement. Most of those who are will be monks, because what the monasteries are in this sort of society is a mechanism for living the Christian life. You've got to a situation where structures of society are such that it's virtually impossible, it seems, for people to live a consistent Christian life within the society. So you build a society within the Christian society, the monastery, where a consistent Christian life may be lived. And so the monasteries become the natural home of those who desire discipleship. And the wider Christian society respects this. They know the monasteries are necessary. I mentioned earlier today the various purposes which they serve in society. They're the schools, they're the libraries, they're the universities, they're the hospitals, they are the hostels. If you're making a journey, you get stranded at night time, the only place you can go to is the hospital, is the monastery. And there they will take you in and give you hospitality for the night. They're crucial to making this a Christian society at all. But they're also nurseries for the spiritual life. All sorts of motives take people into the monastery. But the crucial one, I think, is the desire to live a Christian life, the desire to be a disciple. I don't know if any of you have read one of the many monastic treatises which come from this period. The Imitation of Christ by Thomas à Kempis. It's a wonderful book. It's well worth study. But it's a book of monastic devotion. And you see that every now and again Thomas will say, remember the time of your conversion. And what does he mean? The time of your conversion, the time of your turning, the time when you turned from the world in order to enter the monastery. That was the time when you decided that the imitation of Christ was the way of life. So conversion begins to take a different meaning. It's still about turning. It's about turning from the world. That world is essentially Christian. In name is Christian. But if you want real Christianity, then you turn from that Christian world into the world of the monastery. You're producing thus two levels of Christian life. Everyone is Christian. Everyone will be calling on the name of Christ. But those who are really serious about it are likely to be found in the monastery. Thus, says Anselm, of those who are saved, most of them will be monks. They're the people who are serious about it. You notice your two levels are appearing. Nominal and real. And this is a distinction which comes once you've got the idea of a Christian community. Now, this idea of nominal and real continues in Protestant Europe long after the monasteries have disappeared there. It becomes the distinction that evangelicals draw between a nominal community and a real, nominal Christianity and real Christianity. I think this evangelical distinction goes back to the monastery. Evangelical conversion is the child of monastic conversion, and it comes very much out of the experience of Christendom. Sorry.
What about a precedent for the remnant in Israel?
I think dead right. This is where it comes from. Christendom is parallel to Israel. And you see how this thought runs through a great deal of early Christendom thought. Runs through the ceremonies. I mentioned coronation rituals. Coronation rituals are based on kingship in the Old Testament. And yes, the Christian monarch is in the position of Hezekiah or Josiah. And within that system, I think you're right, the model is the remnant. You've got your two levels in Israel. All Israelites are God's people. All Israelites are under the covenant, yet much of Israel lives in a way that rejects the word of the Lord completely. But in each generation, there's that group who have not bowed the knee to Baal. There's that group of disciples among whom Isaiah seals up the testimony. If the Lord had, there is a righteous remnant. A remnant will return. Yes, there's always the Israel within Israel, which is its saving element. And I think that's very parallel to what happens in Western Christian thinking.